right. Well, good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining our webinar today. Um, Today, we're going to be covering some different topics around, let me admit a few more people, topics around using Salesforce integration with Tendril Connect and as a strategy to increase the number of meaningful conversations that you're having with your outbound strategy. So today we have Andrea Vélez, who's going to talk to us from a company called BrainPOP. So Hector, if you could share your screen, we can jump in and talk about how we're going to execute the session today and how you can participate. Okay. So again, like I said, we're going to, oh, sorry, back one, Hector. Sure. So we're talking about Tendril Connect and Salesforce to really boost outbound performance. So now we're going to define outbound performance in a few different ways today and talk about let a couple more people in, and talk about how Tendril can really accelerate the number of meaningful conversations, whether you're using Salesforce or other tools in your tech stack. And we'll explore a few different topics around, sales execution. And all right, I got bells and sounds everywhere. Okay, Hector, let's go to the next screen. So first and foremost, I wanted to introduce Andrea Vélez from BrainPOP. She's a regional sales manager. Andrea, do you want to take a couple moments here and just introduce yourself and BrainPOP?
Yes, well, thank you so much, John and Hector, for putting this together. I'm Andrea. I am the regional sales manager at BrainPop. I've been in the ed tech space for over a decade. Definitely, when I had the fortune to start using Tendril, I was in awe. It is one of, if not the most productive of the tools I've used in my sales outbound outreach. And I'm super happy to be here today. And hopefully, this is meaningful for all of you who are connecting. It is definitely a tool worth exploring, which really allows anybody in sales to really maximize and hit that quota they're looking to obtain.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Andrea. Andrea, can you tell us a little bit about BrainPOP and how you help your customers?
Yes, so BrainPop is an ed tech tool. We've been around for over 25 years. We started way back when there was no technology in the classroom, and it's a wonderful tool. The founder was a doctor. He wanted to explain complex topics to children, and he decided to create Moby, which you can see here, a robot. And Moby and his friends explain to the students different topics. So it started very basic. It was always a movie, wonderful humor, very engaging for the students. And we've evolved to one of the leading platforms in the world. We cover all subject areas, and we are targeting that K through eighth educational space. It's a teacher platform and a student platform, and basically we are engaging students with all of these wonderful animated videos.
Excellent. Thank you for that, Andrea. And we always look forward to seeing the BrainPOP booth at every time we're at a conference and get to interact with some of the characters. And you said it was Moby is the
Yes,
name of
yes.
uh-huh.
So Moby is our robot. Moby, I have to say, is the most loved person or robot in education. And we always get a crowd of people wanting to take pictures with Moby.
Hmm.
And Moby has a group of friends, Tim, Annie, and they go through the world understanding and explaining for any learner all types of topics.
Excellent. Well, thank you so much for that. And if you ever get a chance to go see the booth, make sure you get a picture with Moby or
Mhm.
some of Moby's friends. So my name is Jon Elhardt. I'm a CEO and a co-founder at Tendril, and we created a sales acceleration tool. It's a dialing platform for salespeople that works really, really well in the ed tech space. Specifically because a lot of times when you're calling into either districts or schools, there's receptionists that need engagement, and there's phone trees that need to be navigated, and this is really where we specialize. We have an integration with Salesforce, among a few other CRM and engagement platforms. And really, what we're providing with our tool is more meaningful conversations with qualified prospects. And we're going to talk a little bit today about how Andrea uses the tool to increase the number of meaningful conversations while using the Salesforce integration and boost her productivity and ultimately, achieving her goals. So as we go through the session today, if you have questions that you'd like to ask for either of us as we're going through uh, the questions that we have prepared, please type them into the chat. Hector will identify the questions that need to be asked and kind of interrupt us and add to the conversation as we go, and we'll make this as fluid as possible. So, all right, Hector, if you want to advance to the next slide, we can go to the first question. Okay, Andrea, this question is for you. What are the biggest challenges regional managers like yourself or sales teams in general are facing today?
I think it's all about time and getting people to have those meaningful conversations you mentioned, John. So typically in a sales organization, the team's focused on emails, less calls, just because it is impossible for one person to make as many calls as needed. Once we got Tendril, what was wonderful was the ability to have in an hour, because the sessions are an hour, have real people connect with, and sometimes over 50 of my potential customers. And once they connected, there was always that option of leaving them a voicemail. So not only are they verifying it's the correct contact, but they're also allowing for a voicemail. And then I could use that follow up. And so you have multiple touch points. And again, what I, as a salesperson, my goal is to get that attention of the customer or potential customer, be it in a booked meeting, be it in leaving a voicemail, or them actually reading and clicking through my email. So Tendril really, really just fast forwarded that, having that opportunity to connect.
Hmm. Excellent. No, I love the way that you frame that up as using Tendril to save you some time. Um, that's probably one of the biggest benefits of using a tool like Tendril. The way that our platform works is we have a team of agents, and they call through a list that our customers provide using our Salesforce integration. Um, these agents navigate phone trees and IVR systems. They leave pre-recorded voicemails, and then they also actually speak to receptionists and ask to be transferred. And once they get the intended contact on the line, they click a button and that live conversation is transferred to the waiting sales rep. So when we talk about time saving, since we have 4 agents for every one salesperson, we can 4x the volume, right? So we're typically doing 130 to 150 calls in an hour. And depending on the quality of your data, you're going to speak to 10 to 12 actual qualified decision makers. So vastly accelerated, vastly improved, vastly increased number of meaningful conversations you're going to have. Um, Many times when I'm talking to new customers or prospects that are considering using Tendril, um, they typically tell me they make 150 calls in a week or in a few days, and when they hear that we could do that in 1 hour, the next question is like, well, what are you going to do with the rest of your day, right? Could you customize your emails? Could they be more personalized, right? Could you be more strategic, right? So the use of Tendril really isn't to like replace. Sometimes we get the objection, we're like, well, we're more strategic with our calls. We believe in that too. It's not all supposed to be high velocity, but we give you a tool to free up more time to produce more quality outreach in your other channels.
I just want to add, John, just
Hmm.
because I've been using it and some maybe people on the call aren't aware. So the voicemail and the intention and the list is provided by us. So it's not the agent calling and basically asking for a name. They have an intention which they can read out, and then they have a pre-recorded voicemail I've done in the platform, in Tendril platform. So it's my voice, it's my message, it's my intention. I
Hmm.
just wanted to add that.
Yeah. Great point, Andrea. And we've even done uh, some interesting campaigns where we'll record a voicemail of maybe the CEO, or maybe I don't know, maybe there's a voice of Moby, and you want that
Exactly.
to,
Yep. Beep. That's what
yeah.
Moby does. So yeah, you can always customize, you can always make it meaningful. And again, getting to that objective of getting the attention of your customer.
Mhm. Excellent. All right, thanks for that, Andrea. Next question, Hector, is let's talk about technology. So, what's your current tech stack, and how do how are you working with these different tools to really maximize every opportunity you have to engage with customers?
So fortunately, we at BrainPOP use Salesforce as our CRM, and last year Tendril had a wonderful integration with Salesforce. So even saving myself and my team more time because once a dial went through, it was actually going into our Salesforce data, which is where we live. That's where we create our opportunities. That's where we actually monitor all of the activity. So that integration seamless. Those are, I would say, the only tools I use on a daily basis. We do have some outreach for email composition and for sending sequences and so forth. But I would say my main sales tech stack is heavily on Tendril and Salesforce. And I was super happy to see how you all did that integration last year. It just like really maximized my use and even made a huge time saving.
Hmm. Excellent. That's great to hear. Yeah, the Salesforce integration is really seamless. Once it's set up, we can pull contacts or leads from Salesforce reports. So if you can build a report with the scoping that you want to identify either a contact or lead, we'll pull those contacts and leads into the platform. We'll execute a session and we'll push back the completed call tasks that are related to those lead or account records with the call outcomes and the notes. So we have some custom disposition mapping that allow you to maintain some continuity in your data. So any reports or charts or dashboards that you already have built with regard to, um, you know, metrics or sales team numbers around activities, those will be maintained with our integration. Okay, Hector, next question. Okay, Andrea, what metrics prove lead quality beyond meetings? So I think a lot of our customers are using our platform to book new business meetings, but what else are you looking at as a measure of the efficacy of your effort?
So for me, it's sales, and in sales, it's money, and money is getting to my quota. And actually, like I can make 1,000 calls, but if that doesn't translate into meeting quota and selling what I need, it's useless. So um, definitely in sales, it's tricky because having a demo or setting up a meeting isn't measurement of a lead quality. But with Tendril, it was really easy for me to understand that I was getting lead quality because all of my, I would say, let's call them campaigns in Tendril, were very mindful of having a call to action. So once the agent started dialing, they would either transfer the call or leave a voicemail, which I'm huge on that power of that voicemail because after the voicemail, I would be able to send a follow-up email and they would have 2 points of contact. And there was always a sense of urgency in that voicemail. And whenever I got that call back or that scheduled meeting, I knew it was coming from my Tendril campaign. And another way to measure it was seeing how many of those opportunities I was creating became real sales. And
Mhm.
I did see that the majority of my quota was thanks to Tendril because I was
Mhm.
able to do targeted campaigns and getting that call back and that connection where I was able to share the value of BrainPOP and actually close the deal. So
Wow.
it always reflects to money.
Yeah, yeah. But I love that your first response is like hitting quota because that's what it's
Hitting
all
quota,
about.
yeah.
I talk to a lot of salespeople. They say, "Well, I did all my dials last week. What do you want from me?" It's like, well, dials is kind of a measure of your effort, but really what we want to do is drive more engagement. So you said something really interesting about the voicemail. I've noticed that this is a bit of a polarizing topic when I talk to sales leaders or even salespeople, and I ask them, "Do you leave voicemails?" And a lot of people say, "Well, I don't do that. I don't leave voicemails. It's not worth the effort because nobody calls me back." And my next question typically is, "Well, how many voicemails are you leaving per day, or in a given week?" And that number is typically pretty low because they said it at the beginning. They're not doing it because they don't think it's going to work. But it sounds like what you just said is because we are leaving such a high volume of voicemails, you are getting a return on that. You are getting callbacks. So, when people call you back and return your voicemail, what is that conversation like?
So typically I'll say let's say my last tendril was in December and we have 2026 pricing. So it's a personalized message. I always try to select the same type of district. So it's hi, and I mentioned the name of the district so they know it's not this like robot leaving a ton of messages. And then the sense of urgency is are you interested in exploring what pricing looks in 2025 before we change to our 2026 pricing? And
Hmm.
I'll get that. And then I will always, with the data, the Tendril session allows me to see that I left, let's say, 40, 50 voicemails. I'll send a follow-up email restating the same. Are you
Hmm.
ready to learn more on how you can save and use the 2025 pricing before we change? And then when I get that call back, I know it's because of my Tendril campaign. I
Hmm.
know it's because there's a sense of urgency. So if somebody is shopping around and if somebody is interested in getting BrainPOP, they will call back. So again, you can't just leave a message, say, hi, beautiful weather in Florida. No, you want to really be mindful of what that message is and have a call to action. So like,
Hmm.
call me before prices change.
That's great advice. So it sounds like you're using the voicemail to really drive urgency on this change in pricing, and you're getting some engagement that way. So,
And I think in
mhm.
sales, I'm sure many people, even like as an individual person, I receive so much garbage mail. I don't think email is as valuable. People stopped calling because
Mhm.
how easy it is to send a campaign of 1,000 emails in an hour. So
Right.
I think the value of that in-person conversation, and you fast forward a ton, like from even continuing outreach to a customer that isn't going to buy, that's time wasted on me. So once
Mhm.
I connect with them and they say, hey, yeah, we love BrainPop, but we're not going to be buying this year, boom, that halves like all of that lost activity I'm going to have with one call, one connection. I know I should focus, move on to the next.
Yeah. Excellent. I love it. All right, Hector, next question. All right, Andrea, what advice would you give to other regional managers similar to yourself or other salespeople that are managing a territory to maximize their outbound efforts in 2026?
Well, I think it's a little bit obvious. I am called the Tendril Queen at BrainPop, so I would definitely suggest the manager explore tools like Tendril, ideally Tendril, because you guys are doing a great job. It's already integrating with CRM, but I do think things have changed, and I would say the amount of outreach via email has changed. People
Mhm.
want that real connection. I also think the voicemail, the power of connection. Sometimes, ideally, we would all want to go face to face and meet our customers, but hearing that person and being a real person goes a long way. So
Mhm.
definitely explore Tendril as a tool.
Yeah. Um, and it sounds like you know, authenticity, it helps you with your conversations. I think, I started at the beginning talking about increasing the number of meaningful conversations. Um, I think from a like a sales management perspective, making sure that your team is trained and coached on having those conversations and maximizing every opportunity when they do have the conversations because they're hard. We're working really hard. We're giving you a software platform to accelerate the number of conversations you're having. So we got to be ready when that conversation comes. Right. And so like, having a good training program and a good coaching mechanism to deliver feedback and allow your team to apply those changes and those techniques to maximize those conversations, I think is crucial for any outbound team.
Oh, and also, John, just to
Hmm.
highlight, Tendril does a great job because it records your calls.
Hmm.
So, as an individual contributor, I can go back and I can hear my call because sometimes it's quick, you're not ready to take the notes, so it's always there. It's always there, and you can
Hmm.
even share it with, for example, your manager and say, "Hey, what was I doing wrong? What worked here? Help me with
Hmm.
the pricing. Look, this is what the customer is saying."
Hmm. Excellent. Yeah, I love
By the
the
way,
call.
yes. Oh, go
Oh,
ahead,
go ahead,
John. Go ahead, sir.
Hector. I think we got a
No,
question.
sorry. Yeah, we had a question from Fanny
Hmm.
uh, Gilani. I hope I'm pronouncing that right. So the question is, what is the role or function of the SDR within Tendril? From what I understand, it seems like Tendril is assigned to operate as an SDR. Could you clarify how this works?
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, sorry. Is that Andrea? Do you want
You're the
to answer?
CEO of Tendril, but I can definitely add to it. So
Go
if you
for it.
want to get started, I can tell you our specific use case.
Sure.
No,
Yeah,
but go ahead. You
Andrea.
you you can you can you have the power of word.
So the SDR, I'll just kind of frame it up. The SDR is the one receiving the calls, and then we have agents are the ones that are navigating through the list, trying to find contacts that are ready to talk, right? But the conversation is really held with the SDR or the account executive, or in Andrea's case, the regional manager. So, Andrea, do you want to add to that?
Yeah, so if I understand Fanny's question correctly, at BrainPOP, we use it for both roles. So my SDR, or in at BrainPOP, it's called BDR. Both BDRs and SDRs will utilize Tendril when they're doing campaigns. And then as an individual contributor, owning my territory, I also use it. So it is a tool that works for both roles, for SDRs and for regional sales managers.
All right. Well, thanks for the
Okay,
question.
guys.
Hector, next slide. Okay, the last question is looking into the future. So, Andrea, how do you see the future of sales evolving in 2026 and beyond?
I think AI is heavily influencing everything we're doing. Definitely see more integrations in terms of AI inside of Tendril. I do think as time passes, a lot of additional tools will come to the market. But I also think integrations with existing tools is important. So
Mhm.
last year, you all integrated Tendril with Salesforce and continue to add on and layer those in-app integrations, I think is wonderful. But I'm still learning about AI, so I'm sure John and the team has been exploring the AI integrations, but the human component, no matter what that integration in AI looks like, is key. So I think the power of Tendril is yes, you're getting real people to connect, to do the work in a very quick way, but you're having that real person connect. So AI is
Mhm.
a little one part of the picture.
Yeah, I love how you frame that up, Andrea. So, AI, AI, the way that we see it now, really came like a freight train out of nowhere, of a couple of years ago, right? When we first founded Tendril, nobody was talking about AI, especially in any kind of practical or functional way. And now you have many companies and many people talking about like how are we going to replace the SDR? AI SDRs or AI BDRs or AI lead generation, and we want to do the whole thing using AI. And I think at Tendril, one of our core beliefs is that people want to buy from other people, right? They want to interact and engage with humans. They want that authenticity. They want to talk to somebody who's genuine, and they want to have that human experience. So Tendril is exploring AI and building this into our platform. We're really looking to uh, use Tendril as sort of a tech-enabled tool, right? So we may deploy some AI to help us leave voicemails automatically. We may deploy some AI to help us navigate a phone tree, without the use of any human interaction. And we may actually even have AI having conversations with receptionists and gatekeepers. But what we'll never replace is the transfer to a live human who's going to have that conversation and engagement with a live prospect. So we think that's the future because it's almost like there's an AI pendulum swinging, right? And it's going to swing all the way to the right, and then I think it's going to come back to the middle, and we're going to say, you know what? No, I like to have a conversation with a human. I like to be able to ask questions and know it's not, scripted or calculated or, something inauthentic. Right. So that's really our belief, and I think where we're headed with the platform. From a outbounding standpoint, but also from a coaching standpoint, I think this is where we're really going to see AI shine within the Tendril platform. We're going to be able to analyze all the call recordings and identify sentiment. Was it good? Was it bad? We'll do quality assurance and treat it like as a coaching opportunity. Was it a good call? Was it a bad call? Uh, was there too much time where you were speaking over the prospect and not doing enough listening? And what's that percentage? Right. So we've got a lot of exciting things coming from the Tendril platform when it comes to AI, and we're really excited to continue to share it with the community. Um, okay, I think that's it. We are about out of time, so we've got a couple minutes left. If there's any other questions, please put them in the chat. Um, if not, appreciate everybody tuning in. And Andrea, thank you so much for your time. Next quarter, we will have Robert Gaspard from SRS Distribution as our guest, and we'll explore some of the different ways that they're using the platform to actually reach out to current customers to talk about new products and services, regional events, and things like that. So thanks everybody for your time, and have a great day and a great weekend.
Bye. Happy
All right.
Friday, everyone.
Bye-bye.